Hello everyone. The topic that we are going to discuss today is one of the important topics for students studying Banking Law and Negotiable Instruments Act. Today we will learn what is relationship between the banker and the customer. What is the definition of a banker? It is not easy to define the term banker because a banker performs multiple functions. A person who is doing the banking business is called a banker. The Bill of Exchange Act 1882 defines the banker as a body of persons, whether incorporated or not, who carry on the business of banking. According to Section 3 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, the term banker includes a person or a corporation or a company acting as a banker. What is the definition of a customer? According to Sir John Paget's view, to constitute a customer, there must be some recognizable course or habit of dealing in regular banking business. According to him, a customer of a bank has to satisfy the two conditions. That is, duration theory and regular banking transaction theory. As per duration theory, a single banking transaction will not make a person a customer of a bank. He must maintain his account with the bank for a reasonable duration. As a second condition, the transaction must be regular banking business and not casual transaction. What is the nature of relationship between the banker and the customer? According to Sir John Paget, the general relationship between a banker and a customer is one of debtor and creditor. The banker is a debtor, and the customer is creditor, when the banker accepts the deposits of the customer. In case the customer's account is overdrawn, or the customer has taken any loan, the customer becomes the debtor, and the banker becomes the creditor. When a deposit of money is received, and an account is opened by a banker, in the name of customer, the primary relationship between the banker and the customer is created, and that relationship is that of a debtor and a creditor, but this does not mean that there cannot be any other relationship between the banker and the customer. The banker and the customer can also enter into subsidiary relationships like that of bailee and bailor, trustee and beneficiary, and agent and principal, by special agreement or arrangements. When a banker accepts valuable and documents from a customer for safe custody, he becomes a bailee, and the customer become a bailor. As a bailee, the banker owes some duties and liabilities to the customer. They are: he is required to safeguard the safe custody deposits of the customer in his hands, with reasonable care. If he fails to take reasonable care in the preservation of the safe custody deposits, and if the customer suffers losses as a consequence, banker will be liable to compensate the customer. He is required to hand over the safe custody deposit to the depositor whenever he demands them back. A banker becomes the trustee of his customer when he is entrusted with some trust. For instance, when a customer deposits a certain sum of money with banker, with specific instructions to use the same for a specific purpose, the banker becomes the trustee of the customer in respect of that money, until that purpose is fulfilled. When a check, or a bill of exchange is deposited with a bank for collection, the bank becomes a trustee for the check until it is collected. Once the check is collected, and the proceeds are credited to the customer's account, the banker becomes the debtor. When a banker undertakes agency service, such as collection of checks, drafts, or bills, collection of interests and dividends on securities, payment of premium, etc., for a customer, he becomes the agent and the customer becomes the principal. As an agent, the banker owes some duties to the customer. They are: he is required to act in accordance with the instructions of the principal, that is, the customer. He is bound to return to the customer all the incomes which he earns, as an agent of the customer. The relationship between the banker and the customer may be mortgagee and mortgager, when customer pledges any valuable assets as security to take loan. For example, a housing loan, where the customer mortgages his property documents to the banker to get an housing loan. Thank you. Please do like, share and subscribe.